Hello, my friends. I am back, and I am thinking about the whole idea of the grass being greener on the other side. And I'm thinking about what it means to be content and why we are so often so discontented. Some people say, if only I had more money, my life would be so much better. If only I had a different relationship. If I was in a different relationship with that other person over there or that other kind of person, a lot of times we say that about our job. If I leave this position for that position over there, then I'd be happy. That whole idea of the grass always being greener on the other side. How many of us actually have played those mind games with ourselves, and how we just keep doing that to ourselves. Maybe the grass is not greener, but it's a different shade of green. It still needs to be mowed. It's just really fascinating to me how much of our lives we spend in that constant cycle of if only, if only, if only. I mean, that seems like it would be just kind of common knowledge. I don't feel like I'm really telling anybody anything that is new. We've heard that before, we've experienced that before, but for some reason it feels karmic that we keep going through this cycle of having these unrealistic expectations that things are going to be better. Maybe some things will be better. Certainly if you come into a lot of money and pay off your bills, that's great, but at what cost does that extra money come? Most people don't win the lottery. Money doesn't just fall from the sky, so you do something to come into it. The average person, if you're very lucky, you can find work that you're good at, you feel some passion for, you feel like is in alignment with what you value and your sense of personal integrity. That's great. But it's still work, and so if you are increasing your level of responsibility, then there is going to be a sacrifice involved in that. You will have to spend more time, or maybe your deadlines are more intense, or maybe your workload is greater, and that creates stress and anxiety or a challenge to manage or maintain that. So there's always something, I feel like, that happens when we get to the other side of whatever it is that we are looking to get to. And often I hear people talk about it, usually in two ways, mostly about money, finances, so that would oftentimes connect with job and career or relationships. One of those two, those are the two big ones. I guess the other third one I hear about is if only I lived in a warmer climate. So for you folks who live in Minnesota with me, yes, we hear that all the time. But that's a perfect example. So I will say this. People often ask me, why don't you move? You complain about the winter so much, but why do you stay there? What is it about Minnesota that holds you there? Or is it more that you just, you are stuck and you can't leave? And actually that is so not the case. Interestingly enough, I stay here because the grass is not greener on the other side. We're back to that concept. If I were to move to a different state within the United States, I'd need to find the perfect balance of community, creative community, people who value the same things that I value. There are a lot of really wonderful food options here. Whatever it is, we have so much here, and I sacrifice being here in this cold climate several months out of the year because there are other things that I feel like I value more. Check in with me after next winter. But that's a great example of the kind of conversation that you hear about the grass is always greener on the other side. Oh, if I only lived in Florida, if I only lived in California, if I only lived in wherever, I'm going to leave America, if I only lived in, the UK or some other place, where we didn't have to deal with American politics. Yeah, but then where would your family be? Are you taking your whole family overseas too? So I think The take-home message for me is that we have to really ask ourselves. First of all, we have to know that there is no great solution, a perfect answer on the other side. That all of our problems are not going to be resolved. But the secondly, we have to ask ourselves, what is it that we value the most? And maybe sometimes we have to write that down and actually look at it so we can see it mirrored back to us. What is it that we really need right now at this time in our lives? Because that can change too over time. But what is it that you need? And if you're weighing out a decision, what do you feel? Which decision will give you the most on that list of what it is you need, and what can you sacrifice as a result of making that choice?